everybody, this is Brian Howell from Saltwater Ambitions, a project sponsored in part by Custom Aquariums. I wanted to give you guys a quick update today on build preparation. One of the first things that needed to be evaluated as part of the build was the construction concept, meaning how the wall was actually going to be modified to allow for the tank and the stand, and of course the electrical needs associated with the project. As you can see from some of the pictures here, the previous owner of my home had a long wire shelving unit along the wall where the build is going to be going. She used it for storage above and hanging below, and also had a large wooden panel hung on the wall, presumably to prevent her clothes from touching the bare insulation and the wiring. Of course, all of this needed to be removed in order to identify the electrical needs behind it. Unfortunately, taking these two items down was much more time consuming than I originally expected. Whoever hung these things did so sort of haphazardly, so it wasn't as simple as taking my drill and removing some screws or taking the claw hammer and pulling out some nails. As you can see from the images here, the shelving unit and board were hung up with a variety of hardware, most of which wasn't properly installed. I'm telling you this not to harp on the poor construction habits of previous residents or the previous owner, but to instead share a bit of insight with you that can help you in future projects. Things that appear at first glance to be easy tasks which won't take much time, they can often turn into much more time-consuming steps. In this case, something that I thought was going to take 5 to 10 minutes ended up turning into a half an hour project in and of itself. Always plan ahead for that and allow yourself enough time to do things right rather than rushed. You'll be happy that you did. After getting the shelving unit and board removed, I was able to identify the electrical needs without any kind of obstruction. Fortunately, the wiring and electrical behind the paneling proved to be minimal, and it won't require much work to adjust. There are 3 items in the wall to consider: 2 sets of light switches that operate the lights in the bar area, and a set of outlets that service the wall behind the bar and cabinetry inside the bar itself. Partly because of good planning and partly due to sheer luck, the aquarium stand and display are going to fit right between the 2 sets of switches, and therefore I don't need to move them. I don't believe I need to move them at all. There were 1 set of wires that were fixed to a stud that's being removed, so I was able to relocate them without much hassle. The set of outlets, however, I need to take another look at, and will probably have to work around them during the build. I haven't determined yet if I'm going to move them or if I'm going to figure out a way to construct around them so that cosmetically nothing will have to change on the display side of the wall. I've already consulted with a licensed electrician, and I'll be having several outlets as well as a secondary breaker panel installed in order to accommodate the aquarium's power needs and also the needs of other items like my RODI water making and mixing station that I'll cover in future updates. So just to sum up, there are a few key points to remember here. Number 1, make sure to evaluate all of your construction needs prior to bringing in your display tank, your stand, and other equipment. It'll allow you more room to work and limit the chances of damaging something on accident because it was in the way. Number 2, allow yourself adequate time and also buffer time for even the smallest portions of your project. Oftentimes things won't be as easy as they seem on the surface, and you don't want to have to rush. Rushing not only leads to costly mistakes, but it takes all the fun out of the project. And number 3, spending the extra time and money to consider the electrical needs will help ensure a clean build free of messy wires and overloaded power strips and circuits. Make sure to always use a qualified licensed electrician. Don't risk burning your house down or hurting yourself to save a buck. Thanks for taking the time to check out this update, and if you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to share, feel free to contact me. Thank you.